All right, last time we looked at a bunch of calculator stuff that you are going to need to be able to do. This time we're going to look at just a couple ideas that you're not really going to have to do anything with, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this because it's such a cliche in statistics. And that is to point out that just because two things seem to follow some sort of trend does not mean that one of them has caused the other. We say that correlation does not imply causation. I wrote is not equal to, but when statisticians say it's correlation does not imply causation, meaning just because if this thing got bigger and that other thing got bigger doesn't mean it was a cause. A couple examples here. Ice cream and drownings. If you were to graph the sale of ice cream and the number of drownings per any given day in the summer or any given week, you would find that you'd have a positive correlation. If you were to graph those, you would indeed have an increase in both. And you could say, hey, look at that. People are drowning because they're eating ice cream, or maybe when people drown, other people go out and get ice cream. It doesn't work that way. What we have here is what's called a confounding variable. And that, of course, is the heat. More people eat ice cream when it gets hotter out, and more people go swimming, which leads to an increase in the drowning. So neither one of these causes the other. They're both a result of the same thing. That's called a confounding variable. A couple others that are sort of interesting that I've heard over the years: the number of household appliances you have and your IQ. Does that mean that owning household appliances makes you smarter? Of course not. That would be absurd. It might go the other way. It might be that the smarter you are, the more money you earn, the more appliances you can afford. But I don't know. That's just what I remember from when I took statistics in college. This one I find a little bit interesting, and this is the kind of thing that you run into in society. People will say, organic foods cause autism. Look, I can show you that the sales of organic foods go up and autism goes up too. So if you go out the scale on organic foods, you go up in the number of autistic children, and people use all kinds of arguments like that to say, vaccinations cause autism or whatever, because when the number of vaccinations go up, the number of autism cases go up. It's BS. Just because two things tend to be increasing over time does not mean they're in any way related to each other. So there's not even a confounding variable here except possibly time. They're just things that happen to be increasing. And I don't know as autism is increasing. I know diagnoses of it are increasing. It doesn't even necessarily mean that the number of cases is increasing. Might be. I don't know that it isn't. And this one's my favorite because it's just so stupid. If you look online for correlation and causation and hit images on the search screen, you'll find a lot of graphs with some really bizarre things that are correlated with each other. And one of them is per capita consumption of margarine and number of divorces in Maine. I have no idea how those two things could be related, but you'll run into those. Okay, so I just want you to understand, you don't really need to do anything with this. I want you to understand that just because two things are correlated does not mean that there's any sort of a causational relationship between them. It could be caused by something else, as in the heat here, or just what year it is here, or it could be just a complete coincidence, like the margarine and the divorce. All right? Next time, we're going to talk about the project that you guys will be doing. Talk to you then.